Hello everyone, this is Nirmal here for Technique, and in this video we'll do a detailed review of the camera on the Moto E 2015 version. So the new Moto E, also called as Moto E 2015, has come with upgraded specs, and there are two things important about the camera. First is the rear camera is a autofocus camera, the 5 megapixel autofocus. Previous one, the first generation, had a fixed focus 5 megapixel. Now that has been upgraded to an autofocus 5 megapixel. Apart from that, there is a front facing VGA camera for selfies and video calls. So these are the two major upgrades to the device in terms of the camera aspect. Now there is one thing still missing on the device, is a flash. A lot of devices in the 6 to 7K category have really great camera along with flash. So Moto E lacks flash in this category. So now let's see the camera interface and also see the camera samples and see how the camera performs. So here is the camera interface. So as you can see from the interface, Motorola hasn't done any changes to the interface. So we have two options. One is to record videos, and second is to switch to front facing camera. Now it has a VGA camera, and if you want to have a look at the settings, you need to swipe from here. So we have the settings. So there are a couple of options. Interesting one is the HDR, that you can select auto on and off. Second option is the control focus and exposure. So this does not have an option for tap to focus. Instead, you can, if you just turn it on, you can see this is the control focus. So whenever you want to change the focus area, you need to just drag here, and the exposure and the focus will be changed, but there is no option to touch to focus. So that we are really disappointed with that option, because this works pretty decent, but then still the touch to auto focus works much better, and it is available on most of the camera phones. And then you have the panorama option. Then there is self timer, 3 seconds or 10 seconds, and there is let's go here and see the other option. So you can save the photos in the phone storage or SD card. Then we have the resolution, 3.7 megapixel, that's 16:9 aspect ratio, and if you select a 5 megapixel, the aspect ratio is 4:3. Then we have the shutter sound on and off, and finally you have the quick capture. That's something useful. Twist your wrist twice quickly to launch the camera anytime. So if you want to quickly launch the camera, you can just twist the wrist by holding the phone twice quickly, and then it will open the camera interface. So that's the options. So the amount of features available in the camera interface is pretty much low when you compare with say a device like the Redmi 2 or even the Lenovo A6000. The options are very much less, and the video sample can be recorded only in 480p. That's kind of disappointing, because 1080p is more or less like a standard in even the budget category, and this device supports only 480p. That's because the Snapdragon 200 quad-core processor has very low recording capabilities, but it still supports 720p, but Motorola has restricted to 480p. That's kind of disappointing. So that's the interface of the Motorola Moto E 2015 camera. Overall, the interface is very basic and does not offer lots of options, but it does offer options like the HDR panorama and few useful options, but there is no option to change the kind of ISO and other stuff. So if you need that, you have to have a separate camera app installed, which allows you to control such options, and also the video recording is restricted to 480p. So that was the camera interface. Now let's go straight into the camera samples. So here are the samples taken in daylight. So as you can see from the daylight shots, they have come pretty good for a 5 megapixel camera, but there is decent clarity, but the sharpness levels are a little lower than the competition, because it's just a 5 megapixel camera, and there is slight amount of noise as well. And the colors look pretty okay. They're not really the best, but still it's an acceptable quality camera, since it's only a 5 megapixel shooter, and it does have autofocus here. So it's a big improvement from the Moto E first generation phone. But when you compare with the competition, with the likes of Redmi 2 and the Lenovo A6000, this camera doesn't live up to the expectation of the other two devices. But still, considering that this is a 5 megapixel camera, the daylight shots have come pretty good, and the colors also look pretty decent, although the sharpness levels and the overall clarity doesn't beat the Redmi 2 or even the Lenovo A6000. Even the macro shots are completely decent. There is a good amount of clarity available, and the colors have again come pretty good. So all in all, in the daylight capture, this device does produce pretty decent shots, and this is a big improvement from the first generation Motorola Moto E camera. Now moving on to the low light images. This camera isn't really that good with the low light imaging because it's a very basic camera. There is only 5 megapixel camera, so it cannot capture too much details in low light. But with adequate lighting, say for artificial lights, it can pretty decent. It can capture pretty decent shots. Again, there is noise that is not really controlled, and the lack of flash is something like a deal breaker, because if you're shooting in low light mode, I mean low light conditions, you will be missing the flash, because the capture has a lot of noise and there is no flash also. So considering the competition, this is lacking in flash as well as low light abilities. So overall, we would say in the low light abilities, it's not really that great, but with artificial lighting, pretty decent amount of artificial lighting, it can produce pretty decent shots. So all in all, we would say in the camera aspect, with regards to the photo quality, we would say this is big improvement over the first generation Moto E, but it does not beat the competitions like the Redmi 2 or the Lenovo A6000, which are priced in the same category, that's rupees 6,999. Now moving on to the video sample. So you can see here, this is a video sample, and it's kind of a disappointing video sample because it does record only in 480p, and the quality is very low. It's not ideal for any video purpose, because it's just a casual 480p sample and doesn't work really well. There is noise, and also the clarity is way too low. So that was the camera review of the Moto E. So all in all, we would say it's a big improvement over the first generation model, but it does not beat the competition with the likes of Redmi 2 and the Lenovo A6000, which both these devices sports 8 megapixel camera with LED flash, while the Moto E has only a 5 megapixel camera without a flash. So that was a detailed camera review of the Moto E 2015. So hope you like this video. If you have any queries, drop in a comment and we'll be glad to help you out with the queries. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great day.